District's November meeting. Per the agenda, if it pleases Chairman Hood, it's time for a moment of silence. Thank you. Per the agenda, it's time for a roll call. Chairman Hood.
Present.
Commissioner Davis.
Okay. Here.
Commissioner Lewis. I think she's on her way.
Here.
Oh, hey, Commissioner Lewis. And Commissioner Thompson. All right, looks like we've got a quorum. And I'd like to see, is there a motion to adopt the agenda? Assuming everybody's read it and seen it.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? I believe the agenda is adopted. At this point, I think everybody's seen the minutes from the last meeting. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
I make a motion to approve. I make a motion to approve the minutes as read from the last meeting.
Second.
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 Everyone in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Any opposed?
Excuse me, Mr. Pantazza, thank you.
Oh, no problem.
Okay.
You want to take over for
No,
me
you
now?
go, you can go ahead.
You sure?
I'm sure.
Okay, I know you got a lot going on in the background.
Yes,
over
I
there.
do. That's why I say I really thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. Well, those turkeys take precedent right now, so you got to make sure they go out. All right, next up on the agenda is old business. Is there any old business? President Northern, I think you're muted. Do you want to unmute?
Oh, sorry about that. Apologize about that. I want to make a couple comments related to old business.
Okay.
Well, I know that we had discussed and looking at better ways to improve what we do here at the organization. And we've had this conversation with the board members before as we upgrade our and fully operating our software. Our goal is in January to have a new updated reporting format for the board that kind of be like kind of a dashboard. So some of the major indicators related to our major departments that you guys will have. And so our team talked about it earlier, and we're working hard to have that ready for you guys in January.
Anything else, Mr. Northern?
That's all I had, sir.
Well, let's see. Ms. Phibbs just mentioned there might have been a few more items on the agenda. Let's see, I might be looking at an older one.
Hey, Commissioner Pantazis, you don't sound as you sound a little muffled, a little different than you normally are.
See if I can change my mic.
Good morning, Commissioner Pentassis. There are two items on the agenda. We have two presentations on the PowerPoint. I think you're muted.
He was switching mics.
How about now? Can you hear me better now?
Yeah, we hear you better now,
Yes.
sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, great. Well, before we wrap up old business, then let's go ahead and wrap up old business and then move back to the previous agenda item that's been skipped. Is there any other old business?
No, sir.
All right, hearing none, let's move on to a previous, I think it's agenda item 5, the recognition of HABD Employee of the Month for November of 2021.
The one before that.
The you want to do is
I've only got, I mean, honestly, if there's something else on the agenda, y'all go with it. It's not on the one I have.
okay. It's on the one that's on the screen. I apologize about
Right.
that.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
the first agenda item that we have to go is the presentation of award to Commissioner Davis, who's our Board of Commissioner, who's leaving the board effective, well, this is his actual last meeting.
Last day, yeah.
Yeah, Commissioner Davis has been on the board for a number of years and done some great work with the Housing Authority and really engaged with the clients, and he's leaving the board. So it'd be a huge void to try to fill his leadership here at the Housing Authority for the number of years. While he was here, he's been a commissioner, a vice chair, and a chairman of the board, and was very engaged with the clients. And we have a couple items for him. I believe we're supposed to be displaying them. And I know that others want to maybe say a couple words for his hard work and all his efforts that he provided. He was the first commissioner I had the opportunity to meet here before I came to the Housing Authority. And, you know, he'll always be a good friend of mine. So I totally appreciate what he's been able to provide, and what he's receiving is well-deserved. I know we're not here in person, and tomorrow we'll be at our employee recognition program, and he's planning on being there. So we'll do this again for all the staff can see, all our team members can see, and then provide him with this presentation, present him with his actual awards of service and things. So Ms. Bibbs, I believe, are we sharing something to view for?
Yes, sir. Megan's trying to share it and I'm holding it, but for some reason, my video keep going out. So she's gonna show the display of the items, and see mine, you keep going out so you can't see it well.
Okay. So I know that it was some words that a couple of commissioners want to say. So we can give them that opportunity while we're working on getting the items displayed for Commissioner Davis, and then give him a couple words to say some things on his last board meeting. I know he's probably over there emotional at this point.
Okay. This is Mr. Lewis, Commissioner Davis. So I know we are just like a thorn in your side, but that's okay. It doesn't hurt us. It might pinch you a little bit, but we appreciate all of that. And just because you are leaving the board, we do not expect you to leave the CPAB or the residents. You've been a blessing working with us. There has not been one event that the CPAB has sponsored that you have not attended, and we appreciate that. That means a lot to us, and it means a lot to the residents. So I don't want to sit and make no long speech, because you know exactly how I feel. Everybody do. You are surely going to be missed from this board, but you are not going to be missed, because I'm sure we'll be seeing you. Congratulations, and whatever adventure you're about to go into. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Commissioner Lewis. You know what I feel about you. I just, you know, we've got the kindred spirit together, and I'm gonna miss those phone calls right before the board meeting asking me, Commissioner, which way we're gonna go today. And so I just thank God for you and all that you do. So thank you so much.
Quite welcome.
I'll hop in if Chairman Hood wants to wrap up with it. But Commissioner Davis, thank you. Just, you know, from a personal standpoint, you were one of the first people that reached out to me when I became on this board, and have always been available to me, have always tried to answer any questions I have and get me up to speed as quick as possible, and share your wealth of knowledge. And so from a personal standpoint, I just want to thank you for that, because you didn't have to do it, and you've done it since the day I've been on this board. So thank you for that. And, on behalf of the organization, I think, I said a little last time, but it really is so important that, it's not just these board meetings that you participated in. It's not just, a ceremony or ribbon cutting and things like that. You really on a day-to-day basis, truly, I think, thought about all of our residents and this organization and what it means to do a good job. And I think in so many ways, you lived and breathed that every day that you've been on this board. And it's something that I'm personally going to try and take with me moving forward as the way that, I try and be a better commissioner and a better board member, and just, really not just look at it as a board, but also really being truly part of the community that we're serving here. And I really appreciate the way that you tackled this position, because it's really been helpful to see how it should be done. So I just thank you for your time and your energy. And I echo everybody's sentiments that I hope to see you around, and I'm sure I will.
Thank you, Commissioner Pantazis, and it was my pleasure working with you and spending time with you. And I look forward to us getting together, having a cold beverage here real soon. But it's just been a pleasure to work with you. You're so talented, so bright, and I just look forward to seeing what God is going to do in your life through the Housing Authority and other avenues. So just thank you for what you're doing, and it was my pleasure, my honor to work alongside you these years.
Well, I won't be long, and I don't feel like this is a goodbye, because we're not gonna let you get away like that. So,
Exactly.
I really do appreciate your leadership. I appreciate the example that you set. I have learned a lot from you, and I know that I'll continue to learn a lot from you. So I do hope that I'll be included on those cold snacks that you and any other commissioners get together and have. And I mean, even up to last week when we had the unfortunate shooting of the 9-year-old girl, I already knew that you were going to be on the scene. You were going to be with Reverend Dr. Todd and other people responding. So just like Vice Chair Lewis said, that engagement with our residents, our people, that's the kind of example of a leader that our housing authority has benefited from. And so I hope that myself, as well as our commissioners, continue with that same legacy that you and Reverend Todd and so many others have shown. So appreciate you. I'll see you tomorrow at the employee celebration, and we'll continue the conversation. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman Hood, and it's been an honor and a pleasure to serve alongside of you. As you said, you learned from me. I've learned from you as well, and we've had several talks and we've had several conversations about how we can best move the Housing Authority of the Birmingham District forward. And I'm really just looking forward to kind of watching from afar what the Housing Authority is going to do. And under your leadership, leading this board, I just think we're in great hands. This Housing Authority is moving in the right direction. And I just know that you working alongside of Mr. Northern and our other commissioners, we're going to take the Housing Authority of the Birmingham District to unprecedented levels. So I'm just so excited. But it's being my last day, my last board meeting, I'm just so excited about what's to come for the Housing Authority. So yeah, thank you, Chairman, and just look forward to any way I can help you. I'm just a phone call away.
Now, Commissioner Davis, I mentioned it a couple of times how in terms of our relationship, our working together. And we'll have a couple cold ones. I usually like mine warmer than cold, but we'll get that together. And so we plan on recognizing you in a special way on tomorrow, but also getting together at a later date. We know the holidays is busy, it's a lot going on. And so all the commissioners will be made aware of that opportunity to, gather and just celebrate Commissioner Davis for his hard work and effort that he's put into the Housing Authority for the many years, and many more years he'll continue to do that. Commissioner Pantazis wanted to read the actual plaque that the Housing Authority will be presenting you tomorrow for your benefit, and I'll hold it so that you guys can kind of get a visual view of it while it's being read.
So the award and the plaque reads as follows. It's presented to Cardell Davis, HABD Board of Commissioners. This distinguished award is in recognition for your years of visionary guidance, exceptional leadership, and unconditional commitment serving as member and chairman of the Board of Commissioners for the Housing Authority of the Birmingham District. It is your passion for improvement and significant contributions to enhance the quality of life for the clients in our communities. We thank you for your dedication throughout the years, and it highlights your years of service, which are 2014 to 2021.
Oh, and there you go. I don't have to hold it no more.
Oh, thank you so much. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And I'm going to make sure I place that somewhere where it's visible every day, because I really try to take my oversight responsibility seriously. I try to do what was right by the residents, and I just can't thank former Mayor William Bell enough for giving me the opportunity to serve my community, and then along with Mayor Woodfin, allowing me to continue to serve under his pleasure. It's been the greatest joy of my adult life, being able to serve the residents of the Housing Authority of the Birmingham District. And Mr. Northern, I just want to say to you, continue to do a great work, continue to do a good job. And it was no doubt in my mind when we went through the interview process to bring you here to Birmingham that you were just the leader that we were looking for. And I will say this: you have not disappointed to date. You've done what you said you were going to do. You have a passion, compassion for our residents, and it shows. And not only our residents, but for our staff as well. And I just think we have a good team. We are moving in the right direction, and what better time to exit than us being in the position that we're in. And I will say this: I think I can confidently say this, that we're probably in the best position that we've ever been in since I've served on the board. And that's I'm talking about a financial position. I'm talking about a growth position, a development position. So HABD is on the move. So it's just I'm just getting full right now, just talking about it. But I just thank everybody for what they've done. The residents, the CPAB, Ms. Davis, Ms. Lewis, Ms. Reynolds, all of you. It's just been a pleasure to work alongside you and to help you kind of try to reach those goals that you're trying to reach. And so I look forward to continuing to doing my volunteer work with the CPAB and the residents of the Housing Authority. I was just telling somebody the other day, and excuse my broken English, but I don't need no title to do what I need to do.
Amen.
And so I don't have to have a title to continue to serve the residents of the community of the city of Birmingham. And so I will continue to do that. For me, it's always been about the people. And when I got on this board, I really didn't know what to expect when I got here. And I've just met so many wonderful people, residents that I've come to really call my family. And I just thank y'all for allowing me to be a part of your lives. When you have weddings and funerals and baby showers, you invite me just like I'm a part of your family. And that just means so much to me that you would think that much of me to allow me to be a part of your family events and things of that nature. It just really warms my heart. So thank you so much. And I just want to leave this with my colleagues. It's been such a pleasure working alongside each and every one of you, all of my former colleagues and the colleagues that I currently serve with. It's been my absolute pleasure. Like I said, it's been a pleasure of my adult life. It's been the joy of my adult life. And so I just want to leave this question with my colleagues. I want to leave you something to ponder. I want to leave something that will kind of prick your thought process. So I just want to ask you, what are you going to do with your influence? I'm not sure the way history is going to judge me, but I never really tried to do anything based on political wins or public opinion. So I just want to challenge my colleagues to do what you can while you have the opportunity and the influence. Don't waste the opportunity that God gave you to do a great work. So we have an opportunity to do a great work to serve the most vulnerable residents that live in our community. And so I just want to challenge my colleagues to continue to do a great work and continue to serve the residents and continue to do what you're doing. President CEO, Mr. Northern will probably appreciate what I'm about to say, and Ms. Foster will probably appreciate what I'm about to say, but because you've heard it before from Secretary Fudge. We just want to be good for nothing. And that's all I tried to be. That's all I tried to do while I was on this board. I didn't want anything in return. I just wanted to be good for nothing. And hopefully I tried to be good for nothing to not only the residents, the staff, my colleagues, and our stakeholders. So to that, I want to say thank you. I'm not going to be long-winded. I know we got a long agenda, so I look forward to seeing all of the staff on tomorrow. And I just wanted to just let you know, I love you from the bottom of my heart. So again, thank you so much.
Commissioner Davis, before you leave, I
Yes,
will
ma'am.
miss the award ceremony tomorrow, but I will be at the nutrition center doing what I do best.
And you
I
know,
look
I'll see you
forward to
there.
seeing you and Mr. Northern and the rest of you down there. Thank you.
I can't wait.
Okay.
Okay. Well, unless there's any other words, our leadership team members and other staff will get an opportunity to say congratulations a few more times for you, sir, tomorrow and a special day we have that we're planning for you. So again, congratulations, and
Thank you.
you know, I appreciate you.
I appreciate you. Thank you. God bless you.
Sounds like you need to share the the Commissioner Davis playlist to us, Mr. Northern, when you get it together.
I know, right? Yeah, we're gonna work on it.
People are asking for it.
We're gonna work on it.
Good. All right, well, we'll move on to new business then.
Sorry, sir. Sorry to interrupt you, sir. The next presentation is the Employee of the Month from November 21.
Sounds good.
Ms. Mitchell will be handling that for us. I think she was asking to share a screen. Terrain.
Okay, can you guys see the screen?
Yes, we see it now. Yes.
So good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Ms. Consuelo Archie is currently employed as the asset manager under the Housing Operation Department, where she manages 2 sites, Tom Brown Village and Harris Home, simultaneously. She has been with the Housing Authority for over 20 years. Ms. Archie provides outstanding customer service by going over and beyond her required job duties. Her dedication to HABD greater mission makes her a valuable asset to the agency. Ms. Archie has been instrumental in reaching the agency PIC reporting goals within a short time frame. At the end of July 2021, Public Housing obtained a PIC score of 93.54. Due to Ms. Archie's strong commitment to the excellence, all sites PIC errors and discrepancies were resolved, and she achieved an improved score of 98.13 as of September 2021. When applying for a moving to work, the outstanding scores will put the agency in a better position to address our local housing needs through exemption from existing public housing and house choice voucher rules, and provide the ability to flexibly use certain funding streams. Ms. Archie is undoubtedly deserving of this award, and we would like to introduce the November Employee of the Month, Ms. Consuelo Archie.
Congratulations, Ms. Archie. Is she on the line?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Thanks everyone that nominated me for the award.
Keep up the great work. We appreciate you.
All righty, thanks again.
Congratulations, Ms. Archie.
Congratulations, Ms. Oster.
Okay, Commissioner Fantastic, we can move forward now, sir.
All right, I'm not trying to jump the gun here again.
No problem.
Okay, we're moving on to new business. Any new business? The
No,
only thing
sir.
I've got, and I think Mr. Northern is going to address some of it in your report, but I just want to thank you, Mr. Northern, and your team for participating in a panel that I put together with the Birmingham Bar Association with a group of young lawyers who were looking to learn how to make a difference in particularly looking at how Birmingham's past and future can be impacted by our various organizations in town. So I really appreciate your time and the presentation you gave to our group.
Thank you for allowing me to be a part of that. And I was going to mention it that items like that really bridges the gaps and bring us closer as a community. Different disciplines. Some people aren't aware of public housing, aren't aware of what we do as an organization, other than provide affordable housing or handle what a lot of people call the projects or whatever. So things like that really makes it educational, back and forth, and helps build better alliances. So I appreciate that panel discussion that you had and allowing me to be a part of it.
Any other new business? Hearing none, let's move on to the President CEO's report.
Well, thank you, commissioners, for attending the meeting. Thank you for leadership team members and all the staff that helped pull all this together for us. We provide a written president's report, so I'm not going to read it out. I may highlight a few items. Again, the Birmingham Bar Association invited me to participate. We just discussed that. Commissioner Pantassis made that possible. And the art gallery that we had it at, I believe is owned by his mom. It's amazing. I love that place. She had some pretty balloons around, canary colored yellow balloons around. So it was really just a pleasant event. And thank you to the bar members that showed up. And I've been in touch with a couple of them. So I believe the feedback from that will be greatly appreciated. I do want to mention that Mayor Wolfen wanted to get on a call and congratulate Commissioner Davis. I'm pretty sure he may reach out to you personally. They have a retreat. The mayor's office having a retreat, and they're all tied up. And so he wasn't able to get out. So, but we did reach out to him, and he wanted to say a few words. So I'm pretty sure he'll do that. So I just wanted to make sure I didn't forget to mention that their desire to appreciate you for what you do in the service that you have. We had a number of great opportunities. We participated in a job fair with Congresswoman Sewell that she had in Bessemer to get out some information about the Housing Authority. Most recently, as we continually get out into community and build, knowledge of what we do as an organization, but also be a part of the various opportunities out there. We participated in both the Tuskegee Morehouse game and the Circle City Classic game, where our team members set up we have our tablecloth, our tent area now, passing out information. We have the stress house that talk about our housing authority website and things like that I need to use probably a little more myself. But we just want to make sure that the community know we're here and we want to participate in the various opportunities that's out there. And so thank you to the team members that's showing up and participating in those items. We're sponsoring our building together holiday giving drive. Ms. Holmes, Ms. Williams, is it Wilson now, right? Yeah, I think it's Wilson now. So she's been working and leading that effort. And we had a number of people want to help and volunteer. The radio station is working with us, along with the Church of the Highlands are working with us. And so that'll be a great opportunity for us to give to the clients that we serve and that we so appreciate throughout. We had our all staff meeting where we was talking about restructuring. We know it's a hot topic on a lot of people's head and hearts. And so I believe that we was able to effectively answer most of the questions that the staff members, our team members had. And so we hope next month in January to bring our final approvals for us so we can start that process. We know it's the end of the year. It's a lot of off days and a lot of people in and out for holiday time, but it was a great opportunity for us all to get together and people to ask all the questions they wanted. And we was able to answer those questions for them. Again, tomorrow we're having our 28th annual HABD Employee Recognition and Service Award ceremony. It'll be held at Herbert Center. And so that's exciting. Afterwards, we'll be heading over to help the resident leaders and serve some of the clients that we serve in the various communities. Lastly, we talked about, we have a presentation coming on later about an IT presentation about the equipping our team members with the right resources to do the job effectively and correctly. And so, we're getting away from the paperwork orders. The maintenance staff has been trained on the work order systems, and they have handheld iPads like for completing the work orders in terms of the actual physical, not the work, but the actual work order and closing out the work orders when it's completed. So we update that on a faster pace. And also we're still moving forward with our finance department's changes to automate our system and stop hand printing and mailing stuff in envelopes to be sent to our landlords and vendors, which would save us quite a bit of money and time and energy. And so with that being said, I can end that report with the final statement that, I know all our hearts are heavy still from the young lady that was injured in the shooting that took place on our property. Just a brief update. She's in and out of surgery, and we still praying that she does well. I don't want to put our medical business out here in a board session, but if any commissioners want any personal updates, we've been in touch with the family constantly in terms of helping them in terms of their transition and dealing with the situation. Armand and myself both was at the hospital with the family helping them, and so we've been at the table for the family in terms of that situation, knowing that we can't stop and avoid things like that, but we can support our people when things are happening. And so we've been there for them, providing counseling and a whole lot of other items. So if any commissioners would like any personal updates, please reach out. I'll be happy to let you guys know about it. With that being said, sir, that's the last thing I had to report based on my report. And then we could go into the rest of the meeting.
Commissioner
I just
Fantastic.
wanted to.
Oh, go ahead, Chairman.
No, I was just about to ask you, Commissioner Davis, if you wanted to speak on that, because I know that you are part of a group of folks that can help respond to that. So, the floor is yours.
Yeah, well, thank you so much, Chairman Hood. And I just want to say that I have had an opportunity to spend some time with the family of Miss Baker, Jalea Baker, her mom, Latrice, and grandmother. And so, we've had several tragedies that have taken place throughout the years since I've served on the board, but this one really touched my heart after I met with the family. These are some amazing people. And it was just a situation where the young lady was just at the wrong place at the wrong time. And so, I spoke with the mom and the grandmother. And let me say this, I've never done this since I've been on the board in my terms, my 8 years of serving on the board. I've never requested or asked anyone to support a family. But this time is different. I know the need. I've spoken to the family, and the need is great. And without getting into too many details, the mother of Miss Jalea Baker is dealing with a challenge of her own. She's dealing with a health challenge of her own, and while she's still trying to be at the side of her daughter. And my heart just goes out to her because I just think about that could have been my daughter. And just dealing with that alone is enough. And then having to deal with your own health challenges is just overwhelming. And so I know that she has a GoFundMe website set up. I'm not sure if anybody on the staff has that website. I know that the leadership over in Morel Todd has that information. But I just want to challenge everybody that can hear me. If you could donate anything to this family, they would appreciate it so much. Anything large or small, they need it. They need it all. Ms. Baker's not able to work. She's at the side of her baby, and I don't know when she'll be able to go back to work. And the medical bills, the rehab, and all the ancillary things that go along with that are going to overwhelm her. And so whatever you can do, to my colleagues, to the staff, stakeholders, whoever is on this call that can hear me, I'm pleading, if you could donate anything to this family, they would appreciate it from the bottom of their heart. And so that's all I have to say. And so if you need that information, I can get it for you. I know Mr. Knighton and some others have that information. I don't have it at my fingertips. I'm sorry, I was trying to get it, but I don't have it readily available. But I just would like to ask that anybody that can contribute, please contribute to this family. They need it more than you'll ever know. And so just consider this family and consider yourself if ever you in that situation. You would want somebody to be there for you and help you. So thank you for allowing me to say those words, Dr. Hood. And if you need that information, I will do my best to try to get it for you.
Thank you for that. Appreciate that. Yes, we do want the information. Fantastic.
All right. Anything else on the President CEO's report, Mr. Northern?
No, that's all, sir.
Okay. All right. Well, let's move on to financial service.
Before Mr. Jones start, I just wanted to mention and say thank you to all the commissioners for participating with the committees. I think the committee formats and what we've been able to do in our committee sessions been very helpful for helping one understand and kind of see the vision of the board, but also helping all of us come together to make, you know, the reporting process at the board level and for us, you know, what we do a little simpler for us. So I appreciate you guys. I know it's a lot of committees and it's a lot of time and effort, but I think they've been very helpful for us. Mr. Jones.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Northern. Am I able to share? Yes, I am. Okay, we got a PowerPoint here that I had. Looks a little different than the main report, but we're still going to get to the same objective. So thank you, Mr. Northern, Chairman Hood, commissioners, leadership, executive leadership, and staff. And good afternoon, everyone. And so I want to proceed with the financial services section of the board report. Let's get this in slideshow. We'll first look at financial highlights of the low-income revenue and expense results of operations for the period ended August 31st, 2021. This is the second month of the fiscal year. Let me first explain this financial statement format that we have put together that kind of gives us the ability to do some forecasting and some historical trend data that will allow us to see trends, be able to see how sometimes we have peaks and valleys in our trend and be able to explain those. So let me first just go to this report, give you a brief explanation on how it flows, and then we'll move forward with its explanation of its results. So if you notice again, we are reporting as of August 31st, 2021, which you'll see here in column N. I highlighted these 4 columns in yellow as the main columns that we will be discussing today. So if you look at column N, you'll see that is actual for August 31st of 2021. But what we've done with this report is taken information 1 year preceding the month that we're reporting on. So we will go back to, as you can see here in column B, August 31st of 2020. And we will record those revenues and expenses going all the way forward across September, October, November, and so forth until we reach the current month that we are reporting on. Again, this allows us to track trends in revenues, note any spikes or peaks and valleys and explain those, and ultimately make management decisions based on those results. So I'm happy to report that HABD summarily has experienced an increase in net assets of $30,200 for the month of August 2021. As you'll see noted here at the end of the financial statement here. The results of operations for the month of August resulted in an increase in net assets. That means that there was more revenue brought in than expenditures going out for that month. Okay. Let's go back up to the revenue and let's look at the components of revenue, how it was derived, and explain any significant swings up or down, and as to we can understand why, if any, there were any variances. So if you look at our total revenue line here, can you all see my cursor? Can everyone see the cursor? Yes? I would assume so. I can't hear anyone.
Yes, yes, we can see it.
Okay, great. Okay.
Yes.
So, all right. So total revenues, actual revenues collected August 31st, 2021, 2.9 million, as you can see here as total revenue. And what we do is compare that to column O of what was budgeted to be collected. And you can see here that's 3.1 million. And then we carry it over to column Q to see if there's a variance, and there usually is, between what was budgeted and what the actual results were. So if you go through the components of revenue here, you'll see we had total tenant rental revenue, actual of 425,000. We had budgeted 516,000. So we have a $91,000 variance here in tenant rental revenue. All right, so that seems like that's enough to have a discussion about. But we'll notice that that revenue is based on the 4,002 available units of our total property base, with 3,334 or 83% occupied. So we've got 668 units that are not occupied. And we've got some units that are under redevelopment at Southtown. And so those are going to be part of the reason why there's a shortage in revenue collection in that line item category. Other tenant revenue, which is like increase in moving fees, move out fines and charges. We can see that we were slightly above what the budget was. Actual was 18,000, budget was 16. So the variance was not that large. Just as more of an explanation of what the components of our revenue is. The next line item will be our operating subsidy. We were really right on target with that one. We budgeted 2.26. We actually collected 2.27, slight overage. And that's going to be based on collections from HUD and rent utility subsidies, okay, public housing sites. And it increased. So we project that budget from the previous year's operating subsidies. And so during the year, it adjusts and HUD adjusts and changes that. So a lot of times this doesn't come out equal. And as you can see, we're slightly over for the month of August in our operating subsidies. Capital fund management fees, you can see we brought in 198,000. We budgeted 294, $96,000 variance. Management fees are 10% for our operation of the capital fund for drawdowns for any capital projects. But due to COVID, it has been increased to 15% through December. So if we don't have any capital drawdowns, then we won't have any fees in that column, that particular line item. And so we were slightly less in collections due to capital fund drawdowns for the month of August. And again, so that takes us to our 2.92 in revenues, again, for the month of August versus a $3.1 million budget. 7.85% is not really bad as far as our average rate of collection of revenues. Any questions on revenues before we move down to expenses? Excuse me. Let me get a drink, excuse me.
None here.
Okay, let's go down to expenses. As we travel down, so I've highlighted the items that have big swings and peaks, so we call it, from period to period, and I think are worth explanation further that would probably cause a question in anyone's mind. Reading this report, they would have a question on these items. And so I've got a brief explanation on those items that I think are swayed enough out of average that they warrant a discussion. So as I travel down through our expenses, we get to the very first one is administrative salaries and benefits and other admin. You can see the variance itself was not that large. I don't think you all, if that red makes it hard for you all to see that number. That's a credit of 19.8. So there's really not a big variance there, but the reason this line is highlighted is if you go back to the trend that we posted 12 months prior, you'll see that in July 31 here in column M, it was 285,000, excuse me, but the actual in July goes up to 93,000. So that wants an explanation as to why was there such a big swing, almost twice the amount that was collected in the previous month. Well, I'm sorry, that was expended in the previous month. This is the expense section. So let's go down and I'm going to tell you why, what happened. So in the 2021-22 budget, the categories were structured a bit differently. There were grouping of expenses that were set up a little differently than had been done previously. We have a new team looking at the budgets this time, and we had best practices in play as to how some of these expenditures should be categorized. And so it's not always in skew now. It's not going to be skew exactly with how it was presented in the past. So this is not an increase in expenditures in administrative and salaries. This is actually a reclass. I'm going to show you how we reclass that and why it's showing on this line and then where it actually came from. So if you travel down, you'll see here other general expenses. Right here where my cursor is here, this 26,000 is actual. Well, if you look back at what it was the previous month, it was 1.2 million. You go back another month, it was 669,000. Go back another month. So it is a drastic change here. So what has happened is these items have been reclassed per the budget, and they now report here in the administrative salaries line. To give you more detail on that, if this is too much detail, someone just let me know, but these are the line items that were reported in 2020 for administrative salaries and benefits, just these two right here. The new budget structure combined a lot more of those administrative expenses into this line item. So actually you're gonna have this group of expenditures now categorized, and you can see how we arrived at the 693,000. We've got several more accounts included in that line item than in 2021's budget, as we did back here in 2020's budget. Any questions on that administrative salaries and benefits line? Okay. So if we continue to go down here, let's get back over to the columns at hand here, which are the August columns. As we travel down through our expenses, we get to the next item that wants an explanation. It's going to be the water and electric bills. As you can see here, the actual was 755,000. Now, on a budget of 654, that's kind of a big swing. That would warrant an explanation. But what really caused me to highlight this one is, you go back to July, it was only 522,000. So we went from 522 in expenditures for water utilities up to 755 in August. So what it takes to figure this out is we have to actually pull the power bills. And so we're currently analyzing the past utility bills. Those bills are several hundred pages long. So we're going to have to compare the two to see where the spikes are. We also have the energy efficiencies out there to see where they are in play and if they're functioning as they should. So it's just going to be a total analysis in that area to figure out why there's such a spike there in that month. Part of it could actually be that there are invoices that still need to be posted in that month. So that line item and that significant swing is now being analyzed, and I will return to you guys once that process is complete and we have an answer for you there. Any questions on water and utilities? Okay, let's travel down here to, as you'll see here, labor, benefits, and materials. That's really not a big swing, an actual of 902,000 off the, against a $1.2 million budget. That's not a big swing. But here again, if we're going to do a prior year trend, if you go back to July, we were only at 526,000, but now we're posting here 902,000 actual in August. Again, during the budget process here, there's lots of deferred, there was and still is lots of deferred maintenance that had not been taken care of. And so with an anticipation of operating subsidies monies, we booked another $3.5 million into the budget in this line item in hopes to use that money to kind of take care of some of those deferred revenue items. So this was in addition to the budget, anticipating, give me a second here, anticipating an increase in operating subsidies. with an anticipated additional capital funds in 2021. So that was the purpose, that we really need to take care of some of these deferred maintenance items. A lot of the inventory is old. And so we just want to go ahead and make sure that we budget funds there that can go in and start trying to tackle some of that deferred revenue items, those deferred revenue items that have been lagging behind. That explains that spike in expenditures in that line item. Any questions there on the labor benefit and materials line? Okay, we'll travel down from there down to the protective services line here. And you can see we have a budget of $75,000, but we've got an actual expenditure of $8,799. So that's quite a jump. Well, not a jump, there's quite a reduction in the expenditures that we anticipated in that line item. That is due to right now not having all of our bills from the city of Birmingham. We've had a meeting with them. I'm sorry, not the mayor. The police chief has met with our leadership about the second part is getting our contract going forward so that we can start getting our proper bills to fall in that line item. So this is a reduction in the amount of bills that should be posted. And so accountants like to use conservatism. So I didn't want to accrue this because the new contract is not out yet to see kind of what the amount is going to be, because otherwise we could have accrued an amount, but really conservatism asks that we not accrue expenditures until we have an idea how much they're going to be. Okay, so that's the reason that that protective services line only shows $8,000 versus $75,000 budget. Any questions on the protective services line? Okay, there being none, we'll get down to the two other areas that warrant an explanation, in my opinion. The insurance line shows $164,000. And so the explanation there, it warranted with the budget of 100, there being $164,000 of expenditures and a $64,000 swing. So actually what this $164,000 represents is the annual premiums amortized over 12 months. So we have a $1.9 million premium for all of our insurance policies combined. And in this case, we can amortize because we do know how much we prepaid for the insurance. So if you prepay an expense at the beginning of the year, you can't take that whole prepayment, that whole expense in the first month of the year. You have to amortize it over the months as it is being used. So as the insurance time lapses, then we can take that much of an expense each month. So we have to take 1/12 of the amount that we paid at the beginning of the year for all of our insurance policies and accrue that monthly. So that is how that expense arises in the insurance column. Any questions on the insurance line? Okay, and we've already addressed the other general expenses. Why it is so much less than it was previously is these expenditures have been reclassed up to the administrative salaries and benefits line. So they will not show here, and going forward, they should show a level amount anywhere from 20 to 25,000 each month going forward. Now, going forward over here, the three columns over here is actually a projection. So these are going to show high because we projected these based on the previous 2 years. So in the previous years, those other expenditures were being classified in this line item. But after, these will actually be quite different when the actual numbers come in. This is the projection based on the 2-year average, to previous year average. Okay. With that, that brings us down to the bottom of our financial statement and our results of operations. Are there any questions on the results of revenues and expenses for the month of August 2021? There being none, let's move on to the next items in the financial services report. All right, so with this being November of 2021, the CARES Act funding expires at December 31st of this year. And the act required that all expenditures received be expended by December 31st. HABD has met that goal. We have completely expended all of the 4.75 million received, classified here below in the categories that they were expended. And so we will be not sending any monies back to the federal government due to non-expenditure. Any questions on the CARES Act financials? Okay, there being none. Let's move down to charge-offs for October. So in the month of October, we had $17,008 in charge-offs for rent, $1,951 in charge-offs for maintenance and legal combined, short of $375 of security deposits, less gives us a total charge-offs for October of the $18,584. With that, we were able to collect through MIS $3,551, which leaves us with a net charge-off request of the board of $15,033. At this time, I asked the board to approve charge-offs of lost revenue.
I make a motion that we approve the charge-offs as presented.
A second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right.
Okay, so with that being charge-offs being the final part of my report, are there any questions on any area of the financial services report? There being none, I yield back. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Mr. Jones. I just want to mention something. And I think Cindy is still on the phone, on the call also, because development report is coming up. But I've been in housing 26 years, and I started in accounting, and I'm not an expert in accounting because I didn't want to stay there because all the numbers that you have to deal with and the stuff you got to deal with. However, I just want to congratulate you on your team. You guys doing a great job in terms of pulling things together and improving. I don't know if Cindy, are you still?
Yes, I am.
Cindy and myself looked at the finances. We have some financial consultants in that's helping us pull some things together. And, we had that conversation that you guys are doing what we call the Lord's work related to these finances because they was not in the best shape. And Cindy, I don't know if you want to elaborate some on that.
Yeah, there have been a lot of significant financial challenges as far as getting a lot of items reclassified to the correct places. What we have found is that a lot of the financial transactions were just lying in the wrong columns and in the wrong areas. And just as an example, when the final audit gets presented to the board, you'll see that there was an incredible amount of entries that had to be adjusted by the auditors and the consultants as they worked through both the 2020 fiscal year audit as well as the 2021 unaudited financial statements that had to be submitted to HUD. So it has been quite a challenge. We are still working through a lot of reconciliation items. Right now, we have a huge reconciliation that we're working through with HUD on the reserve amount for the Section 8 Housing Choice Voucher Program. There's a very large imbalance. And so hopefully, as we move forward, we'll be able to provide cleaner financial statements each time. But right now, there is a lot more work to do on the financial statements, but we have made tremendous progress, and Mr. Jones and his team have done a great job in working with the auditors and the consultants and all the folks to try to get things in order. But we do have a couple of very large projects that are underway and will take a time yet to get them resolved.
Thanks for that add-in. And we've been talking, and Mike, Mr. Jones, when you get back, Mr. Jones and his team is in training now for procurement. Finance handles procurement also. And so him and his team is there being trained so we can get better overall. And so it was more beneficial at this time for us to send his team that's also working with the consultant that's doing the training for him to the training. And so I just wanted to say thank you for what you've been able to do, you and your team and your leadership in that area, because it's showing a difference. So appreciate it.
Well, thank you, sir. And I definitely got to thank the team and Celine, namely, really just carrying the ball all the way through. I mean, 100% the staff that's been supporting them has been Celine. She has the institutional knowledge. She knows where things are, and she's been lockstep with them the whole way. I've been guiding, trying to make sure that reporting is on time and things like that, and getting my feet wet as well. But hats off to the team for really carrying this thing through, along with the consultants. And thank you. Thank you too, Cindy.
So thanks again for that. Excuse me. Thank you, Commissioner Fantastic, for allowing me to make some additional comments related to that.
No problem. Thank y'all for working together on all of that. I know all of us appreciate it. Looks like assisted housing and Section 8 is up next.
Yes, so I'll ask Ms. Drake to chime in on this situation. But before you go into the resolutions, the revisions and approvals for the utility allowances and payment standards and items like that, would you just give us a brief update on the voucher program? And as I mentioned earlier, we're not only looking at how we can revamp our reporting and do a more streamlined reporting, like a dashboard type reporting system for our commissioners and our own benefit at the executive level of the organization. But also we're gonna start doing some different short presentations on public housing and the voucher program related to the reporting angle, so that you guys can be aware. We won't try to stretch the meeting out and make it 6 hours unless that's what you guys want. We can do that, but we can just add some more details for you to have, because I know it's a lot of paperwork that you're receiving in these reports. So Seth been working with his team in order to pull that together, so that we can provide that for you guys. So with that being said, Ms. Drake.
Good afternoon. I'll just give a quick update about the voucher program as Mr. Northern requested. From the months July to November, we've issued about 574 vouchers. If you guys remember, we have a high push of leasing up clients in our program. So as of right now, we've issued about 574 vouchers. And so those are families that are currently still looking for units. They've been issued those vouchers and are in the process of being leased up. Also, we are working on an event. We are in the beginning stages of planning a landlord recruitment event. The date and time at this moment is to be determined, but we will keep you all updated on that information. The event is structured to host landlords, proposed landlords, and voucher holders that are searching for new properties. The idea is for there to be individual booths for landlords, owners, and property managers for them to display their available properties via photos, videos, and any other marketing materials that they may have. And our clients will have the opportunity to visit those booths that interest them. This event will also assist with the repositioning of our portfolio by hopefully bringing aboard new vendors with more available affordable housing as our clients move from public housing to Section 8, if they so choose. One incentive for participation in the landlord event is to have the opportunity for on-site inspections for those units that are ready. We anticipate this event fostering positive, productive relationships. Not only will this assist with increased leasing and rebranding, but it will also serve as a prelude to our anticipation of our moving to work applications approval for the landlord incentives cohort.
Thank you for that, Ms. Drake.
You're welcome. Now, if it's okay, I'll proceed with the board action approvals.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Today I have 5 requests for board action approvals. 2 will be utility allowances, 2 payment standards, and 1 small area fair market rent, which I may refer to as SAFMR. All of these requests are a part of our required annual activities. The first request, which is approval to revise the Section 8 utility allowance schedule for 2022. Based on Regulation 24 CFR 982.517, HUD requires all PHAs to review their utility allowance schedule at least annually and requires an update for any utility category if there is a 10% or more change in that utility rate since the last revision. Our last study was performed October 2020, prior to this year. Since the last evaluation, there have been 4 categories with a 10% or greater change. Therefore, we must update our utility allowances. As you can see, I provided for you a chart on the actual request for board action, and it's also on the screen. And it depicts the percentages in each category that has changed. In your individual package, you have the actual documentation for the utility allowance schedule, which is for 4 unit types, which should be single family, high rise, apartment, and duplex. Please let me know if there are any questions to be answered to approve the requested update of the UA schedule.
Thank you for this, Ms. Drake. Obviously, I know we're kind of tied to what HUD provides to us in this regard. Has there been any consideration given to what's likely to be an expensive winter from the utilities perspective?
So the utilities come from a study that we have to pay for. We procure a company to do our utility allowance study. Once we procure the company, they come back with numbers on what they anticipate the increases and decreases will be per each category and subcategory. So it's advantageous to us that we do review our utility allowances annually. That way we can adjust what we anticipate our clients' utilities to calculate as. So therefore, they're getting an allotment or, an allotment for that amount for what we anticipate the utilities be.
And so we think, so based on the study, I mean, it just seems like what everybody's saying is it's going to be an expensive winter. And do we think this is going to match up?
Yeah, so that's yes, sir, essentially. So that's what we do. We pretty much, based on their study and all of the information that they give us, we just try to make sure our clients have the appropriate utility allowances. A lot of them get UA checks and things. We want to make sure they align up with what the study is reflecting. So it's a positive that we're able to kind of align with these annually to make sure that it's accounted for, basically.
Okay.
So are you gonna go over all the approval items and then ask for a last vote, or are you gonna do it one by one?
I think each one, because it's each one has a resolution.
Okay.
I think we have to do them individually, but if we don't,
You could take them all together. It's just up to the commissioner's pleasure how they want to do it.
Yes, sir.
But let's do them individually, just in case there's any issue that comes up.
Yeah, I think we had this before and they told us to do it individual.
Yeah, I prefer to do it that way too.
Yeah.
But for this first agenda item, then the approval of revision to the Section 8 utility allowances for 2022. Is there a motion to approve?
I make a motion that we approve the Section 8 revised rendition of the utilities.
Any second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? It's approved.
Thank you, commissioners. The second request is approval to revise the Section 8 utility allowance schedule, but for the Gaston area 2022. So this request is for the Gaston area, which is also reflected in the same CFR 982.517. Due to us administering 6 HUD batch vouchers for that area, we must use the utility allowance schedule that's effective for that said area. And you guys have the backup in your individual packets. Just let me know if you have any questions.
Hearing no questions, is there a motion to approve the revision to the Section 8 utility allowances for the Gadsden area for 2022?
I make a motion to accept the revised utility allowance schedules for the Gaston area.
Any second?
Second.
Okay.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? It's approved.
Thank you, Commissioners. The third request is approval for the revision of the Section 8 voucher payment standards for 2022 for the Birmingham Metro Statistical Area. HUD's FMR is effective October the 1st of each year, and PHAs are to analyze their current payment standards to determine if an update is needed to be in compliance no later than 90 days following their effective date. Our last payment standard effective date was and is January the 1st, 2021, in which we were and are at 105% of HUD's rate. After reviewing the values of this year's FMR, which has significant decreases across the board, it is my recommendation to have our payment standards set at 110% of HUD's posted FMRs. 110% is the highest percentage increase that a PHA can have without an approved waiver or HUD approval. As you can see, the bedroom size rates still decreased. Internally, we are collecting data, etc., in order to submit a formal request to HUD to obtain a waiver to increase our payment standards beyond the normal 110%. This change will only be applicable to new families coming onto the program, as our current families will be noticed 1 year in advance of the changes, and they will only be effective if and only if HUD does not increase the FMRs next year. If you have any questions, please let me know if you have any questions.
Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the revision to the Section 8 voucher payment standards for 2022?
Yes, I move to approve the voucher payment standards for 2022.
A second.
All opposed, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
It's approved.
Thank you, Commissioners. The fourth request is approval to the revision of the Section 8 voucher payment standards for the Gaston area for 2022. Last year, we were at 100% of the FMRs for this MSA, and Gaston Housing Authority has decided to remain at 100%. Because we service 6 HUD vouchers in the area, we must adjust to their area market payment standards. As you can see, it does provide a negative net difference, but this is due to HUD FMRs decreasing this year. For 2022, this will only affect new families entering the program. Current families will be noticed 1 year in advance of the changes, which will only occur if and only if HUD does not increase the FMRs next year. Please let me know if you have any questions.
Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the revision to the Section 8 voucher payment standards for the Gadsden area for 2022?
Commissioner, I move to approve the revision of Section 8 voucher payment standards for the Gaston area for 2022.
A second.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? It's approved.
Thank you, Commissioners. The fifth request is approval to the revision of the small area fair market rents, which you may hear me say SAFMRs for 2022. In our June 2019 board meeting, the adoption of small area FMRs was approved, which disapproval allowed HCV participants access to areas with high opportunities and lower poverty by providing a subsidy that is adequate to cover rents in those specified areas, and subsequently will reduce the number of our families that reside in areas of high poverty concentration. Annually, we evaluate if it is advantageous to continue with the SAFMRs or the standard FMRs. This year, it is advantageous to our clients to continue with SA FMRs for the specified 17 zip codes. Please let me know if you have any questions. You guys have that additional documentations in your board packets.
Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the small area fair market rents?
Okay, I'll make a motion that we approve the SAFMR for 2022.
Any second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? It's approved. Thank you, Mr. Drake.
Thank you, commissioners.
Thank you for that, Ms. Drake. Your team's, I mean, I believe all our team members are doing a great job. But the way we've been able to increase, how we serve our clients working together as a team has been great. So all you guys doing a great job. I'm just so happy to see how we've been able to maneuver and move along these last year or so. So with that being said, I would like, before we go on, Commissioner Pantassis, just to have Mr. Turner, if it's okay with Mr. Emery, because both Mr. Turner and Ms. Drake works under Mr. Emery's team directly, to just give a very brief overview of public housing. And again, as board members, as board meetings come on in the future, we will have this as part of our presentation.
And if I'll just say one thing, as of, I think last week, maybe on the 8th or so, Mr. Turner was appointed our interim vice president of housing operations, as Mr. William Blankenship left the agency for a different opportunity. And so he'll be in the interim role until we, for the foreseeable future, pending, larger repositioning goals for the agency. And he, just so you know, was also in the interim role in that position for about a month or so when Mr. Blankenship was out on leave. And so we're confident in his ability to handle the program and to manage it effectively during this time.
Thank you. Mr. Turner? Mr. Turner, are you there?
Nope.
Maybe he's not able to unmute or something?
He's able.
Okay. Is he available to Seth?
I'm double checking it.
Oh, there he is now. He's
Okay.
there now. Okay.
Okay.
We can't hear you.
Don't hear.
I'm sorry, sir. I had some technical difficulties there. Can everyone hear me now?
Yes, we can,
Yes.
sir. Yes. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Yes.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to Mr. Northern and Mr. Embry. I think I heard some questions about our occupancy here with the public housing program, and we're currently sitting at about 78% occupied in the public housing department. And there was another question, Mr. Embry, that I think I missed.
Just a brief overview. And so if you could talk, briefly about where we were at the end of the fiscal year with occupancy. We had great numbers and kind of challenges that we're facing as a part of a more national issue versus a local issue. And then just a brief overview of how we are, whatever the other issues you want to identify for the board, and our status in terms of progress on work orders and things of that nature.
3 minutes.
So at the end of the fiscal year, we were sitting at right at 99% occupied. And again, currently we're at about 97%. We have had some difficulties as it relates to receiving items to turn units a little bit quicker. That's not necessarily just a Birmingham issue. Of course, it's a nationwide issue based on the pandemic. We are working with the city to develop a program to also assist and help our clients, and I think it's been mentioned before, with rent, those who have been impacted by COVID-19. We're also working with the team, and I think I heard it mentioned earlier too, as it relates to being able to process work orders more efficiently through the effective use of technology as well. We have had a fairly smooth transition in the absence of Mr. William Blankenship, and we look forward to maintaining and carrying the department to the next level.
Thank you for that, sir. And so we'll work on our presentation that we'll be providing with the board, Commissioner Fantastis and other commissioners in the future, so you can get some brief insight, knowing that you have the packet and you have the ability to read through it, but it's good overall just to kind of hear how we're doing in those lease up numbers and things like that, sir.
That'll be good.
Okay, next we have, oh, sorry. I'm going to take over now.
Hey, you got it. We're on to real estate development.
Yeah.
So I asked Ms. Herrera if you would get on the line. I know we had our committee meeting, and this is an exciting day for real estate development as we looked at and talked about how we reposition our organization into the future and how hard our team has worked in order, one, to get the RFQ out. And then thank you to all the members that evaluate the RFQ so that we can solidify partnerships with our developers to do the reposition of our organization into the future. So with that being said, Ms. Herrera.
Thank you, Mr. Northern. Can everybody see the screen? We have an action item, but prior to asking the board to take that action item, we wanted to share with you a summary of the information that we've discussed in detail at the development committee meetings. Chairman Hood had wanted us to share some of this with the board so that you would have the advantage of understanding kind of where we're coming from and where we're going. So this is a part of the PowerPoints that we have gone over in detail during those development committee meetings. First of all, I always like to start and give a little bit of background information as to why we're headed to where we're going. So let me just start first by a little bit of clarification with public housing. Public housing is many times used as a generic term, and people tend to refer to all assisted housing as public housing. But as we know, public housing is actually a very specific HUD program. It was created in 1937 and known as the Low Rent Public Housing Program. It was actually the first major federal rental housing program that the government became involved in. Initially, what the public housing program did is it provided housing authorities with grants to build housing and then provided you with ongoing operation subsidy and maintenance through capital fund subsidy. While the federal government actually created and funds the program, the properties are actually owned and managed at the local level by PHAs, which are quasi-governmental agencies. So this is just a little bit of background about public housing to kind of understand how it all began, okay? Today, the goals of HUD is to reposition all of the public housing. What HUD means when they say reposition is basically to remove the properties from the traditional public housing program to a different platform. And in order to do that, HUD has provided us with multiple tools that will enable us to do that. So the question is, why is HUD asking housing authorities to reposition their public housing? And it really comes down to the fact that there is a tremendous capital need for public housing across this country. Historically, Congress has not funded the public housing program at the same level that they have funded Section 8 housing subsidies. And so as a result, housing authorities have historically not received sufficient funds to be able to address the maintenance or the capital needs of these properties. Today, HUD estimates that there's about a $60 billion backlog of capital needs across the country, and that is growing by about $3.5 billion a year. And this is just on a national level. And actually, when we look at home, it basically comes home as well and applies to our public housing. So in order to begin this repositioning process, HUD began a few years ago with various tools. And today they have a whole toolbox, as we refer to it, of different ways in which we can reposition our public housing. Basically, they started with the mixed finance program back in the 1990s under the Hope 6 program. That was a demonstration program. It never became a permanent program. It was costly. And so HUD significantly reduced and ultimately phased it out. Today, there is a choice neighborhood program, which is similar, but again, the amount of money that's allocated each year to fund choice neighborhood grants is so minimal that they fund only about maybe 3 to 5 of those projects each year. So HUD gave us a bunch of other tools. The next one is the RAD program. And the RAD program is the primary tool that HUD has available today and is really encouraging housing authorities to convert their public housing under RAD. They also have given us the Section 18 tool, which in Birmingham, you're familiar with both RAD and Section 18. Section 18 is the mechanism by which the Southtown community has been repositioned. And RAD is the tool by which Freedom Manor has been repositioned. And then finally, there's something called voluntary conversion. This really is when you get to the end of your portfolio, your last 250 units, you can simply convert those. So what we've done is we've begun to look at where Birmingham is going, and we're introducing our Thrive 2035 platform, which is basically going to be the mechanism through which we reposition our entire public housing portfolio. So we estimate that over the next 13 years, HABD will make an investment of over $750 million in preserving and expanding affordable housing through public-private partnerships. This investment is intended to improve the quality of our housing and increase the overall affordable housing within the city, while also creating a significant contribution to the local economy and expanding opportunities for minority women and small businesses. What the Thrive 2035 program will do is it will basically allow us to reposition our public housing portfolio. This is the culmination of months of planning since Mr. Northern walked in the door. We began the planning process at looking at every one of our public housing properties. We've assessed those and looked at those to determine what their continued viability will be. We estimate that our public housing portfolio in Birmingham has capital needs of over $250 million today. Public housing is statutorily prohibited from accessing private capital. And so that's one of the main reasons when HUD came up with this toolbox, they basically said you have to move the properties from the public housing platform to another subsidy platform in order for you to go out and access private capital. So the RAD program is, as I mentioned, is the primary tool by which we will do this. This will allow us to be able to access private market and private debt. Thrive 2035 is the strategic framework through which HABD will reposition our portfolio to create new affordable housing through public-private partnerships using private capital. These conversion tools will result in the elimination of the traditional public housing as we know it through the transition to other affordable housing platforms. Predominantly, that will be project-based vouchers. One of the important things is to remember and to know of is that the conversion tools provide protections for the residents. So the residents will be protected throughout this conversion process. Tenant rents will continue to be based on 30% of monthly adjusted income, but rental assistance funds will come to the authority to pay the difference between the tenant rent and the market rent. In other words, the housing authority will become much like the private landlords that we participate with in our housing choice voucher program. So to begin this process of repositioning, we basically issued a solicitation to bring on our private partners that will work with us on these public-private partnerships. We issued a solicitation back in April of this year. This is the schedule that we utilized. There was an open solicitation conference that we did via Zoom to invite everyone to participate, to talk about the solicitation and engage them in the process. We had a deadline for questions of May 18th. We responded to those questions, and the proposals were actually due on June the 9th. Mr. Northern appointed an evaluation committee that evaluated all those proposals, and we interviewed the shortlisted firms, and now we're making a recommendation for final selection. I'll mention that we received 14 responses. I do this for many housing authorities around the country, and I can honestly say that that is the best response I have ever received when we do an open partner solicitation. So we had tremendous interest in working with HABD and working in the city of Birmingham to help us reposition our affordable housing. So we're very happy about that. In looking at our repositioning strategy and Thrive 2035, we basically looked first at our public housing legacy properties. And we've identified these 6 properties as our phase 1 priority properties. And that simply has to do with the overall condition of the properties. These properties are the oldest properties in the portfolio, and they're in the, they have the greatest capital needs of all of our properties. So in looking at our overall portfolio, the color coding that you see here on the screen is basically looking at the phases. So the 6 legacy properties would be our phase 1. And then the next 2 properties, North Birmingham Homes and Cooper Green, would be phase 2. And Kimbrough, Roosevelt City, and Harris Homes would be our phase 3 properties. So we're really starting with the 6 legacy properties. In addition to that, we have a portfolio of just 451 units or within our portfolio that are mixed finance properties. These properties will also be going through the conversion process, but in a little different way because they're the newer properties, they're in good condition. So these properties will make up a combination of some straight RAD conversions, as well as several of these small units that the small properties that you see here are basically units that were intended to be home ownership, and we'll be working to get these units sold to the residents as home ownership. So the Housing Authority will be working directly on this portion of our portfolio simultaneously while we're working with private partners. So what we have before you today is basically a request to authorize the staff to begin negotiations with development partners that were evaluated and selected as part of the solicitation process. This is the very first step in what will be a long process. We will basically, if the board approves, we will select these developers and we will begin discussions with them. There will be multiple steps in which we will come back before the board for various approvals. So when we begin negotiations with the developers, we will then come back to the board to discuss more detail about each of the properties. As part of the solicitation, the developers selected 1 or 2 properties and gave us a simple conceptual plan. The intent was to basically look at their qualifications and their experience, not to look at specific plans. So there are no specific plans for each of these properties at the moment. We do know that some of our properties are on sites that have environmental concerns, and in today's world will not be able to be redeveloped because of the environmental issues surrounding those sites. And so we've brought on developers that have brought forth to us some new sites because we recognize that some of our sites will have to have units moved to other locations. And part of RAD includes something called a transfer of assistance, where we would move the units from an existing public housing site to another location. In addition to that, many of these sites, as you know, are very large, and the goal would be to be able to move the sites into other locations and maybe move them into 2 or 3 different locations. That'll be all part of the planning process as we go forward with each and every site. So again, today's action is simply to request board approval to allow us to select these developers that ranked the highest in the evaluation process and allow us to begin discussions with these developers about moving forward and redeveloping specific sites with us. And that's it. So I'm going to quit this presentation, and I'll be glad to answer any questions that the board may have.
Thank you for that, Cindy. Before the board members get into the questions, again, the goals, one of our real goals is to make sure we ensure that we continually keep our resources improve the number of resources in the overall community related to affordable housing. And so using the transfer that Ms. Herrera discussed allows us to, one, keep our level of vouchers that we have in the community, but also keep the level of affordable housing instead of losing properties similar to what we're losing at Softtown. So our goal is to, transfer some of those properties that's slated possibly for the demolition to some of these new developers, partners, so we can have new units. For example, on the Zimmerman development, that was a part of that. They're doing a new site, so that site will be able to transfer current units over there. So some of our current clients can move into the new affordable housing while we start working toward demolishing old affordable housing. So that's one of our main goals here. And I think our Thrive 35 plan is a great piece of work. As we talked about before, over the next 10 or so years, we can look at close to probably 1.2 billion in redevelopment efforts overall. And it's a lofty task. So and the Zimmerman team had a kind of a press conference that I attended and spoke at on that was last Friday, I believe it was, and it was very well attended and people were excited about it. And so we just want to continue this excitement that we have around repositioning and putting our clients in the best possible situation in terms of their living, and starting to really focus on our target market in terms of the type of units that we need for the type of clients that we have. So with that being said, I don't know if you want to add anything to that, Cindy, before the board.
I just wanted to add one thing, and that is that I want it to be very clear that this what we're asking the board to take action on today has nothing to do with project-based vouchers. We are not awarding project-based vouchers to any developer. What we are doing is selecting developers that will partner with us to redevelop our public housing communities. And as part of that redevelopment process, HUD will provide new vouchers when a property goes through a conversion process. So as Mr. Northern said, we will not be losing any units. And Thrive 35 is going to be, one of the primary goals will be to assure that we do not reduce the overall number of hard, affordable units that we have available. The units will look different. They will have a different type of subsidy, but they will be positioned to be able to serve exactly the clients that have lived in public housing for all these years. And so it's just a different way to do that. And it's being driven in large part, by HUD across the country. And so it's really making sure that we can address, one of the things that HUD has said to us is that Birmingham is very unique, and that 80% of our existing public housing portfolio is in severe distressed conditions, which is very unusual. Most housing authorities have a much smaller percentage of their portfolio that is as severely distressed as our portfolio is. So this is a way to begin to address that. Questions from the board?
No questions here from me, but I will say I'm excited about this. I think it's really central to our mission to provide safe and decent affordable housing. And to do that, we have to really get moving on some of these things. So, it's really important to what our whole goal is here. So I'm excited about that. And I'm excited that you also mentioned that some of the home ownership initiatives will be
I might have been sick. Was it my COVID time?
Because that's a big deal. And
yes.
So between those two things, I'm very excited.
Great. We're excited as well.
One thing I will just kind of challenge us on is obviously with the infrastructure focus that we're having, this is big for our city. And it's big for opportunities for our residents and our clients. And to the extent we can tie this into what's going on nationally, I think it's certainly something we really need to, and I'm sure it's happening, but brainstorm on to make sure we're doing everything we can to do as much wraparound wise as possible, but particularly from an infrastructure and transportation perspective.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right.
Commissioners, any other comments or questions?
No, I don't.
I just appreciate the thorough explanation of what our strategy is. Thrive 2035 to me is super exciting, and I'm just really excited to go on this journey. I think with our stakeholders, both our clients, our partners, and everybody else in our community. I think this is a big step for HABD, and it's not one that I take for granted. So thank you, Cindy, for all that you have done and all that you'll continue to do in partnership with us.
Great, thank you. All right, there's a resolution, I believe.
Yes.
And then we have an action item for the approval of the real estate development partners. Is there a presentation on the list? I know we saw it kind of earlier. Do you want to, it's in our packet, but is there anything you want to put up?
It was on the PowerPoint that I brought up, so let me just bring that back up again. Oops. Right there. We're asking you to approve the beginning of negotiations with the PACES Foundation, the Rural Integral Group, the Benoit Group, Zimmerman Development, Gorman Development, Brinshaw Development, Hallmark DuVernay, Park Development, AHDVS Carlson, and Prestwick Development. I also want to say that 4 of these developers are minority development firms. And so we're excited to have brought forth some of the most experienced affordable housing developers, and particularly minority developers in the Southeast, that we were able to attract them to work with us. So we're very excited about that.
Cindy and Commissioner Pantas, just to add, Brinshaw had worked with us on Smithfield Court for the Choice Neighborhood, and that application is out. And so we'll be convening a group in partnership with the city to look at Smithfield Court as another submission for Choice Neighborhoods.
Is there any timeline for that?
And the application is due, I believe, is February or May or something.
Yeah, it's I think it's March of next year, actually.
March of next year.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
they just released the NOFA.
Right. Literally last week, I think it was.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. And thank you for that. And just to be clear what the commissioners or what the board's voting on here, is this for the approval to begin negotiations to select these partners, or is this?
It's actually the approval to select that will allow us to be able to begin negotiations. We have to select before we can start negotiations.
Okay.
Under HUD procurement guidelines. So.
All right. If there are no further questions, then I'll entertain a motion to approve the selection of the real estate development partners currently listed on the screen.
Commissioner Pantas, I offer a motion that we we select these 10 partners and authorize President and CEO to begin negotiations with these 10 partners.
Thank you. Is there a second?
A second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right. I think that motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you,
for that.
commissioners.
Commissioner Pantas.
Just want to add one thing about
Commissioner
development.
Pantas.
Oh.
Yes.
Can you hear me? Yeah, we need to go back. I'm sorry, I had my I had my computer on mute. I'm going to have to abstain from the vote.
That's fine.
So if you could note my abstention, I will need to abstain for a possible conflict.
Okay. So it appears we have a yes votes for Chairman Hood, Vice Chairman Lewis, and myself, with an abstention for Commissioner Davis, and Commissioner Thompson was absent.
Yes.
Thank you.
We'll make sure that's recorded effectively in the notes and on the minutes.
And so to be clear, that motion carries and those real estate development partners are selected and approved.
Thank you, commissioners.
The only other real estate development update I want to just provide briefly is that we're in the process of getting ready to start demo at Southtown. We're doing a prep work and early work now. And one of the things that we wanted to do is kind of set and plan a small ceremony for the demo, since that's one of the biggest projects and really important to the city. So we'll be in touch with the commissioners around that. Some dates, finding some dates for that. We just thought it'd be really important. There's been a lot of energy and activity around that development. So we want to make sure that we can continually provide transparency along with allowing access of information to the community overall. And as you know, that we did a tremendous amount of relocation, and we're staying engaged with those clients and keeping update with their situations and providing opportunity for them. We're even looking at having a session with those clients that desire to come back so they can be pre-prepared for what's needed to qualify for that new development. So.
Thank you. All right, I think that wraps up real estate development. So thank you, Cindy. Moving on to presentation by the Naomi Truman Scholarship Foundation.
Okay, and then Commissioner Pantas, I want to ask one other thing. Sheila Tyson, our county commissioner, wanted to also do a brief presentation. If it's not on the agenda, but after the Naomi Truman Scholarship Foundation, if you would allow her a few minutes for that, I greatly appreciate it.
Of course, happy to have her.
Thank you, sir.
Sorry, I did not unmute myself. I have to say it. Okay, can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Surely it's a dapper picture of Commissioner Davis, right?
He was younger there, it looked like.
Okay, good afternoon, Board of Commissioners, President Northern, and all present. Thank you for allowing the Naomi H. Truman Foundation to speak before you today. In an effort to encourage academic excellence, stimulate community engagement, and support the attainment of self-sufficiency for the residents of the Housing Authority of Birmingham District, the Naomi H. Truman Scholarship Foundation is proud to announce the installation of the Cardell Davis Humanitarian Award, a one-time $5,000 academic scholarship presented yearly. Since its founding in 2012, the Naomi H. Truman Scholarship Foundation, formerly the HABD Scholarship Foundation, has been guided by a body of talented and passionate individuals, including Mr. Cardell Davis, who has proven to be an invaluable public servant of the highest standard among this body. Mr. Davis was appointed to the Housing Authority of Birmingham District Board of Commissioners in 2014, serving as chair and vice chair for the majority of his appointment. Mr. Davis has long demonstrated his commitment to ensuring the success of the residents of the Housing Authority of Birmingham District through his promoting of economic opportunity, community involvement, and education. Davis joined the foundation board in 2015, where he served as president from 2015 to 2019. As then president and current director, Davis was instrumental in the success of the foundation in making certain that school funding would not be a barrier for any Housing Authority resident who wished to further their education beyond high school. Serving as commissioner on the board, Davis has continued to demonstrate his commitment to this foundation and the residents of the Housing Authority through his unwavering support of and involvement in the Birmingham community. So on behalf of the Naomi H. Truman Scholarship Foundation, we thank Mr. Davis for his service to this foundation, the Board of Commissioners, the HABD staff and residents, and the entire Birmingham community. So we say, I see you turn this camera on. We say thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Ms. French, and thank you for all that you do for our residents. And you know, when Ms. Truman started this fund years ago, she told me before she passed away, she said she wanted me to continue to carry this foundation on. And so if it's the pleasure of the Scholarship Foundation, I would still like to continue to serve. I don't know if the rules would allow me to continue to serve, but if that's the case, you will have a top-notch volunteer on your team. And so, you know, Ms. Truman always said that for any resident of public or subsidized housing that wanted to continue their education, she wanted to make sure that we didn't turn anybody away. And so to you, Ms. French, and to the Scholarship Foundation and to the Housing Authority of the Birmingham District, let's continue in that vein. Let's not turn anybody away. If our residents want to go to college, don't turn them away. Let's find a way to continue to provide monies for our residents to become self-sufficient and to be all that they can be. So I accept this award on behalf of all the residents that have received these scholarships, and on behalf of Ms. Naomi Truman, who started this foundation. This really, you really got me with this one. I tell you, this, you know how much this foundation means to me. And so, you know, it just means so much to me that we're able to help so many residents that are on the outskirts of hope. And we've given so many kids hope, and a lot of our scholars have gone on to do great things. We even have some working here at the Housing Authority, have gone on to get multiple degrees. And so it's just what it's all about. So I'm going to be quiet before I start crying. So thank you again so much from the bottom of my heart for just taking time to acknowledge me. It wasn't necessary, but it was so appreciated.
Absolutely. It's from our
Congratulations.
board. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. French. Thank you. I'm not sure I recognize that young guy on the screen, but it's
I know, right?
a cool award though.
So next we'll have a brief presentation by Commissioner Tyson's office. I think Ms. Ingram's on the call.
Good afternoon, everyone. Commissioner Tyson desperately wanted to be here today. She actually had a knee replacement surgery on Tuesday and is recovering, but she did want to be here to wish Commissioner Davis well and wish him well on his next endeavors. And you can see that he's still trying to stay involved, which is, once you start working in public service, it's kind of hard just to get out of that and rest and, you know, take a few things off your plate. But we did prepare this resolution for you today. We have that here, and we're going to get that to Jackie to get to you. But it reads, nothing ever comes to one that is worth having except as a result of hard work. That's said by Booker T. Washington. Whereas the character and fruitfulness of service and community life is nourished and fulfilled through the faithful concern and selfless devotion of those who would commit their energies and purpose to the service of others, it is the custom of this commission to bring full recognition and just tribute to those individuals who distinguish themselves through their unremitting commitment and preeminence of service. And whereas the Jefferson County Commission in the state of Alabama is justly proud to honor Mr. Cordell Davis for his exceptional service to the residents and employees of the Housing Authority of the Birmingham District. And whereas Cordell Davis is a native son of Birmingham, a product of the Birmingham City School System, and a graduate of Huffman High School, a celebrated philanthropist and graduate of Alabama Agricultural and Mechanical University. Mr. Davis served as the executive director of New Start Neighborhood Revitalization, where his main goal was to bring quality, affordable, single-family housing to underserved and urban areas. Davis also served as a Home Save Director of Neighborhood Assistance Corporation of America, where he assisted distressed homeowners by counseling them and mitigating with banks and mortgage lenders to provide affordable mortgage solutions for homeowners. Cordell Davis. Other professional accomplishments, including as chairman of the Naomi H. Truman Scholarship Foundation, 2014 to 2019, a member of the board of directors of Jeffco Basketball Officials Association, and a member of the Lawson State Community College Students and Free Enterprise Advisory Board. And whereas, along with his colleagues, Davis has served with an overwhelming spirit of charity and compassion at the Housing Authority of the Birmingham District for more than 7 years, operating with vision and enlightenment. Davis's genuine love for people and passion for serving his community has been exemplified in his administrative and presiding duties. In the words of author Sheryl Sandberg, leadership is about making others better as a result of your presence and making sure that impact lasts in your absence. Whereas During this celebration of gratitude and appreciation, the Jefferson County Commission takes this opportunity to applaud Mr. Cardell Davis for his many contributions to this great county and his commitment to the residents and employees of the Housing Authority of the Birmingham District. 1 Corinthians 15:38. Therefore, my brethren, be steadfast, unmovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord, as ye know your labor is not in vain in the Lord. Now, therefore, be resolved that the Jefferson County Commission does hereby recognize Mr. Cardell Davis for his service to the Housing Authority of the Birmingham District, presented this 18th day of November 2021 at the recommendation of Commissioner Sheila Tyson. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Ingram, for this award and this proclamation. And please let Commissioner Tyson know I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. Commissioner Tyson has always been there for myself and the residents of the Housing Authority of the Birmingham District. She's unwavering in her support for our residents. And I just want to thank her for being able to work along with her throughout the years, working alongside of her with the CPAB and not just in her district, but all across the city. She's always providing services for the residents that we serve. So thank you so much. And please let Commissioner Tyson know I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. And again, all I wanted to do was just serve my community and serve the people that are most vulnerable. And we just wanted to be good for nothing. We didn't want anything in return. We just wanted to be good to people. And that's all I tried to do. Thank you so much.
All right. Let's move on to the demonstration of the electronic work order closure process for maintenance staff.
And so as we continually work on our upgrades and our automation, I want to just have a brief presentation of the system so the commissioners can be aware of what we're upgrading to. Again, the maintenance staff has been trained on this process and that and ready to go to work and cut back on buying and using all this paper. So.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Also, like Mr. Norton just spoke about, I would like to present some of the new technology that has been implemented to improve public housing, HCV, housing choice voucher, and the maintenance work order process for all communities. Clients can now make a rental payment, submit a work order, complete a housing application, apply for HCV, housing choice voucher, check waiting list status, all online at www.habdportals.org. Landlords can see HAP, housing assistance payments, their client lists, unit inspection status, and request for direct deposit, all online at habdportals.org. We are equipping all maintenance staff with iPads. The main purpose of the iPad is for maintenance to complete work orders in the field using the Yardi mobile app. Work orders will be received instantly 24/7. This new process will provide a better work order tracking and accountability, for example, before and after photos of the work to be performed. The ability to create voice dictation documentation notes, capture client signatures for completed work orders. All information is collected and uploaded in real time. Another key feature with the iPad is they have built-in internet, so maintenance can access online help tools and how-to videos. And as you can see on the display on the screen, all iPads will be equipped with protecting casing to protect from normal wear and tear. All iPads will have essential applications such as email, virtual meeting apps, YouTube for instructional videos, employee self-portal, and of course, the maintenance work order app. On the screen right now is the maintenance main menu app. And what we have here, this is the screen that when a maintenance personnel sign into the app and they launch the maintenance app, they will be presented with my work orders, unassigned, completed, or new work orders. The one we're going to focus on today and talk about is my work orders. After the maintenance personnel select the my work orders, they will be presented with a list of work orders. They can then select which work order they would like to look at and choose to work on. Once selected, they get this information that is presented on the screen, such as the schedule date, the property name, the unit, the address, the priority, and of course, the contact information of the resident or the client in which they are working with. Additional information. They get a brief description of the problem. And finally, after the maintenance personnel has decided to work on this particular work order, in order to close it out, they will have the options for labor, photos, tech notes. And for accountability, all work orders are going to require labor. It's going to require photos before and after the work order. And also it's going to require tech notes. This is a quick overview of the work order process for maintenance. Are there any questions or comments?
Well, I just want to say thank you. You guys done a lot of, hard work, and I continually talk about how, impressed I am with the team and how we've been able to step up and get so much done in what I consider a short amount of time. But what we're getting done is, for the benefit of our clients and organization moving forward. And so I know we've tasked you guys with a tremendous amount, and you come to the table with it taken care of. So I totally appreciate that presentation and what you guys have been doing to help get things automated and make work a little easier, so we can work smarter and better. But one thing is for certain, that we continually work for the betterment of our clients. I don't know if the commissioners had any comments around anything other than that. We will not have a closed session today. And so just wanted to let the board know that.
Thank you for that presentation. I think that's really exciting. I'm excited to see it in action. All right, I think we're to the presentation by anyone who desires to speak before the HABD Board of Commissioners. Is there anyone that would like to speak today? Ms. Bibbs, has anyone indicated they would like to speak?
No, sir, not at this time.
Okay. All right, hearing none. Commissioner Davis.
Yes, Commissioner Pantasis.
Thank you again, sir. Any comments as we close down this last meeting?
No, I think we got all the comments in. I just want to thank you guys again. Thank you to my colleagues. I do want to do this. I want to mention one thing before I leave. We do have some great partners. We have some great vendors that we're working with now, and some strategic partners that serve us. And I want to highlight our law firm. I know we have several partners, but I just want to highlight our general counsel and Mr. French, Courtney French, and your team. I don't know if he's still on the call, but I just want to highlight them. I just think they're doing an amazing job. And it's just refreshing to feel like that the general counsel respects the board in a way where you allow us to speak freely, and I feel like we're working on a level playing field. And so I really hadn't felt that way in a long time. And so I just want to just give kudos to Attorney French and all of the attorneys that we work with, but specifically our general counsel, because that's who we have our relationship with. That's our first line of contact. So I just want to say that to Mr. French and his team. Just thank you for what you're doing and continue to do a great work. But other than that, thank you so much to my colleagues again. You really made this day special. I said I wasn't gonna cry, and I don't think any tears fell. Maybe one, but But just thank you so much. Thank you to the residents, the staff, all of our stakeholders. I just thank you from the bottom of my heart for all that you've done to help me through this process, serving. And again, this has just been amazing. I'm not going anywhere. I'll still be here in Birmingham. I'll still be serving. I'll still be volunteering. So you'll be seeing me around. You'll be hearing about some of the great things that I'll be doing next. Some of the things I can't let out the bag yet, but you'll be seeing me down the road. So again, to everyone, thank you so much for all you've done through the years. And my heart is just full today for all the well wishes, the proclamations, the awards. You just really made me feel important today. And so again, all I ever tried to do was try to help the residents. That was my goal. When I walked into William Bell's office almost 8 years ago, and I asked him what he wanted me to do, I walked in with a pen and pad. I thought I was going to write down some important information, and I was expecting a comprehensive housing plan that we were going to discuss. And I said, Mr. Mayor, what do you want me to do? And he said, all I want you to do is take care of the people. And that's what we try to do. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Commissioner. On that note, motion to adjourn.
Oh, adjourn.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Mr. Cordell.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Do you see who this is?
This is Miss
I don't.
Madden. This is
Yeah.
Miss Madden from Freedom Manor, a resident.
Yeah.
Hey,
Hey,
how you doing?
I'm doing well, in yourself.
Good. Well, thank you so much for your well wishes, and you know I'm gonna be down there to see you.
Of course you will. Of course you will. But I want you to
Yes, ma'am.
know that's just for the short time that I did get to know you. Thank you so very much for all the help and everything that you've done.
Well, you're so welcome. It was my pleasure, and I look forward to working with you in the future.
Okay.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Love you. Thank you.
And I love you back.
All right.
Mhm.
All right.
All right. If Chairman Hood approves, we're adjourned. Thank y'all.
Approve. All right.
All right, you
Bye-bye.
guys be safe out there. Thanks again.
All right.
Okay. Okay, see you tomorrow, Cordell.
Okay.
Okay.
Can't wait.
Okay.
All right.
Bye.